I don't care which Van Cleef bracelet you buy first. When do you plan to settle and start a family? Would you ever go back to an ex? Absolutely. How low were your standards now that you look back at your past relationships? They were on the floor. I'm not the girl that splits a bill. I will never split a bill. If ever given a chance, would you start in a reality TV show? Have you ever dated someone you found unattractive? All my exes are really ugly. When I get married, I have no intention of like working. Can you tell I've been watching too much Andrew Tate? I would definitely marry outside my culture. To Iranians, I'm too Indian. To Indians, I'm too Iranian. And to both of them, I'm too Western. And to Westerners, I'm too ethnic. Money buys happiness. And let me tell you, the ugly guys do still cheat. They cheat with ugly girls. Okay, today's video, we're gonna be talking. And I feel like I haven't spoken to you guys in a while. Today, my special guest is Chai. Hello. Chai is my little angel. I feel like a lot of you prefer these sit-down talking videos. It could also be translated into a podcast. If you don't want to watch me, you can just listen to me talk. I'll try my best not to talk so slowly. Apparently I talk really slow. Top tip, if you don't like watching people talk too slowly or you just want to get through a vlog, just increase the speed to like ×1 or 1.25 and you'll get through the entire video without having to skip out any parts and you'll still be able to understand the video. You're welcome. So I asked you guys on Instagram to send me in some questions. I said make them juicy, don't make them what's your favorite handbag or
what is your favorite investment piece?
or like
which Van Cleef bracelet should I buy first?
I don't care which Van Cleef bracelet you buy first. It's not up to me. The one I bought first was, I think it was a mother of pearl because at the time all I wore was like black and white and I was like, oh, white goes well. And then I obviously delved into the black and then I was like, these are boring. Let me spice it up. I got the green and then so on and so forth. And then I got the diamonds. Just buy whatever you want. Don't overthink it. Yeah, that's my advice for anyone asking which Van Cleef bracelet should I buy. Not me saying don't send me those questions and then me answering them. A lot of you did send me quite juicy questions. A lot of you sent me some interesting questions and a few of you sent me some really intrusive, invasive, and unnecessary questions. I will be talking about exes, previous relationships, breakups, growing up, shit like that. Fun shit like that. So if you're an ex, probably turn this off. You're gonna be very mad. Actually, you know what? Saying that, when I respond to these questions, it really depends on the kind of mood I'm in to be in. Sometimes I'm in like a catty mood. Sometimes I'm in like a bitchy mood. Sometimes I'm in like a really somber, chill mood. Take 11 because I keep getting interrupted by my dogs, my sister, my housekeepers, deliveries, random people showing up at my door, ringing my damn bell. Stop doing it. Let's start with how are you at the moment? Thank you so much for asking. No one else bothered to ask me how I'm doing and I really appreciate that sentiment. That was very sweet. I am doing good. I am healthy, I'm sober, I'm focusing on my mental health, my physical wellness and general overall well-being. So I'm doing good. I'm currently in Dubai. So far, today I'm in a good mood. So I thought I'm in like a good chill mood. So I thought it'd be a good day to film these Q&As. Do you hate ANSI? Yes, I thought that was given. How's the embryo transfer progressing? Babe, what? I just froze my eggs. There's no embryo. There's just eggs. There's no embryo. Just one egg, no sperm. So no embryo and no one is transferring it anywhere. Also, I just found out that I'm not actually allowed to use my eggs unless I'm married, nor am I allowed to get a surrogate here because it's un-Islamic and obviously there's some element of like Islamic law here. And I can't travel with my eggs. So 3 things I can't really do, which kind of disrupt my plans because obviously I wanted to have a surrogate in the future. I don't think I've ever discussed that, but I do want to look at the option of having a surrogate eventually, maybe. Might have to redo them somewhere else. I'm thinking Switzerland might be a nice holiday. I'm not looking forward to it because I did gain a lot of weight doing that. And I know a lot of people, they don't gain weight, but I personally did gain a lot of weight. It was just a lot of hormones for my body to take on. So yeah, if you guys want to find out more about the egg freezing process and why I did it, it's been 2 years now. You guys can check out the 2 videos that I did on egg freezing. It's a very interesting video. I've done like a whole vlog of the process as well as like answering your Q&A after. The eggs are still frozen, they're in the fridge. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them, but they're still there. I mean, they're healthy eggs. They're unvaxxed eggs. How many people can say they have unvaxxed eggs? Have you ever thought about moving to LA? This is a funny one. I don't think I've ever discussed this, but back in 2016, 2014, I made a few trips out to LA, which I didn't vlog. I don't think I was on YouTube at the time. I didn't even post about it on Instagram, but I made a few trips out to LA, and I was strongly considering moving to LA and like studying at Phillipe and pursuing this whole process, becoming best friends with Amanda Bynes, and then decided it wasn't for me. I just didn't like LA. I'm really sorry. It's really nice for like maybe a month max for me, but it's not the kind of life I wanted to have. But I moved to LA now? Probably not. I don't see anything beneficial there for me. But I love New York. I would definitely move to New York if I ever had the opportunity to get married and move to New York. I would 100% move to New York. East Coast for sure. Definitely not West Coast. I'm so sorry. But like, the lifestyle's just not for me. How to get over a breakup. Breakups are not easy. But if you do this one toxic thing that I do, you will be set for life. This will change your life. First thing you gotta do, emotionally break up with them. Mentally break up with them in your head at least 6 months before. Obviously, this doesn't apply if you're the one being dumped. This is just what I do. I know it's kind of toxic, but I do this to make sure that my mental health is in check because I don't give a shit about their mental health. Once it's done, like, you're dead to me. I won't be speaking to you. I won't even be thinking about you because I've already mentally broken up with you and killed you off as a person in my life 6 months prior. So yeah, do this. And detaching yourself can be difficult, but one thing you should start doing is like noting down all the little things that you didn't think were icks in the beginning, but are now becoming like icks. And like just things that are like red flags, things that just turn you off and just disgust you in general. Write them down and always revert to that. This also helps with the breakup process. If someone else has broken up with you, just write down their icks and things that just disgust you about this person. This is not like clinical advice, so don't take it too seriously, but this is what has helped me in the past get over people if I've ever felt really heartbroken over someone, which is very rare. And write down all the horrible things that they've done to you and things that have made you feel bad about yourself and just bad about the relationship, and that things that will not help you progress with this person long term. Cry and cry, listen to all the sad songs and feel sad, so sad that you can no longer cry and your tears have all dried up, your body is drained, you wake up the next morning puffy and just dehydrated. Just cry it all out. And then once you're done crying, this wasn't the healthiest thing to do, I wouldn't recommend it. Just go out with your friends, live your best life, party. But I'm not saying go out and meet other men. I'm saying go out with your friends, go out with your family, spend time with other people, live your life as if they were never a part of it, but like maybe a little bit more exciting. You know, stop thinking about them. But the most important thing, block, delete, remove, cancel that person off anything that will link you to them. Like, block them off every single platform. Block their number, block their emails, block their mum's number, block their dad's number, block the brothers, the sisters, the cats, the dogs, the aunts, the uncles, block them all. I know this can be rude. It's for your mental health. You have to be selfish. And also block their friends. You might have a relationship with their friends and you might be friends with their friends or like their friends' girlfriends. Block the friends, forget the girlfriends. The girlfriends you can kind of be friends with if they're that cool kind of friend. But otherwise, like, block them all, delete them all. There's no need for you to have them in your life. Nor do they need to be seeing you, watching you, or you watching your ex sometimes on their stories or whatever. Remove him, her, whoever it may be. Absolutely do not message them. In fact, I feel like this could be a whole video on its own. I'm that cutthroat person that just does not care after a breakup because I do this one thing mentally where I've broken up with a person and then I'm like, okay, I don't care. Don't show them any sign of weakness. Never, because then you give them the upper hand. When do you plan to settle and start a family? I don't know. How did you expect someone to answer that? No, really, like what kind of answer were you expecting? Like, yeah, in a week, I'm expecting someone to propose to me and then in like 10 days, we're gonna start a family. I don't know and I don't care. I'm leaving that shit up to God. I used to stress about this a lot when I was younger, in my early 20s, like I should be married, I should be settled down, I should care about when my family's gonna begin, and no, don't give a shit about it. And someone also asked me like family pressure about settling down. I don't get any pressure from my family. Of course they'd love for me to be settled down and married with kids by now, but they don't tell me you need to find a man, you need to get married. My family are super chill. They're not a bunch of weirdos that are trying to force me to get married. They're very happy with me doing my thing. I'm financially stable. I don't really live off my parents. And I'm settled in most aspects of my life except for that one aspect. And that's a big aspect, which I'm not trying to force, like look for right now. I'm just living life. That's my vibe, living life. And when it comes, it comes. If it doesn't come soon, so be it. I'm honestly not too stressed. I have 3 dogs and 2 cats. I'm very content. I have a roof over my head. I have food on the table. I have clothes on my body, in my wardrobe. I have everything I could ever want right now. For a man to come into my life, he's really gonna need to add some kind of value, and it kind of like leads me to another question, like how do you find dating in Dubai? I do not date in Dubai, absolutely not. What makes you lose respect for a person? People who are rude to people like service workers, people who are just rude in general to other people who don't respect other people who think they're above other people. I just hate that shit. I think it's very disgusting. It can turn me off someone very quickly and make me not want to speak to this person again. I hate that shit. Like, you treat everyone with the same amount of respect. It doesn't matter what they do, where they're from. So yeah, I've actually cut off a lot of people for doing shit like that. I find it very disgusting. It's a big thing in my eyes. What do you do when you're bored? Make YouTube videos, of course. Would you ever go back to an ex? Absolutely fucking not. There is a reason I broke up with all of them. Never. When you were a little girl, what did you want to be when you grow up? I always wanted to be a vet, but my idea of being a vet was just so I could spend a lot of time. Growing up, I always wanted to be a vet. I feel like I'm in a therapy session right now. I always wanted to be a vet, but that was purely because I wanted to be around animals. At the time, growing up, I only had 1 cat and my mum refused to allow me to have a dog or any additional pets. And I was so used to spending my time on my farm in India, where I was surrounded by literally every possible animal you could think of, and I loved it. I loved it so much, I wanted to make it my career, and something I've always wanted to do is have a career based off my passion. And my passion is being around animals, until I one day realized that that was the life I wanted, but I also wanted to have like a really fantastic university experience and social life growing up. I wanted to be this glamazon. I wanted to be like a society girl. I'd see like Paris Hilton, Nicole Richie, and I was like, wow, I want to be one of these girls. They're living their best life. That, mind you, this was back in like the early 2000s. So I was like, I want to wear these designer clothes. I want to be that girl. It didn't really go hand in hand with my veterinary. It didn't really go in hand with my profession of being a vet. I had to reevaluate shit a little bit. My grandfather always said to me, don't be a vet, you're not gonna make any money. Be a businesswoman like your mother. And I was like, no, I don't know anything about business. And to me, at the time I was young, I thought business was like accounting, finance and shit like that. And I was like, no. Eventually, I kind of delved into fashion, but that kind of leads me to another question, which I actually want to answer. I can't find the question, but it was basically around tips for people still in high school. This is definitely something I want to emphasize and really push to you guys. If you're still in high school or you're in college and you don't know what you want to do career-wise, you need to explore all aspects of every single industry that you're interested in. So one thing I did was I knew I was interested in fashion. I just didn't know what exactly in fashion I wanted to do. I interned with fashion designers. I interned with publishing houses. So, you know, like Grazia, Harper's, those kinds of magazines. I interned with stylists. I interned with photographers. I didn't do any kind of like retail because I knew I didn't have the patience for people. I knew I didn't have patience for like to do customer service kind of like jobs. It just wasn't who I was. I also don't like interacting with people too much. So I was like, I want to do something where I'm kind of like on my own, but also a part of like a team who was like always going to be there. So I did all these internships. Ultimately, I went to study business management at university, which I kind of flopped on because I only lasted 3 days. Because like I feel like in school, we're never really taught, or we're never really allowed to explore what we want to do. And these opportunities basically sprung from the fact that I had a blog when I was 14. So I was going to events, I was meeting people, networking. It wasn't any kind of like nepotism. My mum was completely out of it, doing her own business. That's how I kind of met people and made these connections and got these internships. Very important to network. Networking is a big thing when you're young. You want to meet as many people as you can, interact with as many people as you can. I also think this is an important thing, just a general life hack. Meet people. A lot of people think they know a lot of people, but you really don't. You have to like sit down and interact with people and actually get to know people, different people from different backgrounds, because it will open your eyes to so much, and it will also open your understanding and your mentality. I feel like there are a lot of closed off people who kind of just interact with the same kind of people from the same kind of circles, and your mentality and your mindset is just kind of one way. Whereas if you meet other people and you kind of expand your knowledge and mindset, you think differently and you feel differently about certain situations. I'm getting too deep. Let's talk about another question. How low were your standards now that you look back at your past relationships? They were on the floor. They were actually on the floor when I look back. The bare minimum was something I thought was amazing, particularly because I'd been in a very toxic relationship, a very abusive toxic relationship, where that's a story for another day. That's also a topic I kind of want to discuss, but not right now, not related to this question. But so the relationship after that, my standards were kind of like literally anyone that's nice with a stable job, who's not living off mommy and daddy, someone who is older than me, caring, kind. I don't need gifts, I don't need your money, I just want you to be stable and loyal and not abusive. So pretty much I'm asking for the bare minimum. The bare minimum is the minimum that you expect from someone. It can't just be that. They have to do more. For me personally, they have to do more. They have to give me more. I'm not going to go into too many details, but I'm not accepting the bare minimum shit anymore. Like, I would be like, oh, he opens the door for me. Wow. No, that's the bare minimum. Chivalry cannot be dead. I refuse to accept that chivalry is dead. Chivalry cannot be dead. If he doesn't open my car door, if he doesn't open the door that's coming up in front of me, if he doesn't hold open the door, doesn't pull out my chair, you're done. If he doesn't pay for my meals, I'm not the girl that splits a bill. I will never split a bill. Unless I'm married and then we're sharing responsibility of like groceries or like food, or I don't even think I want to pay for the housing bill. I know like feminists are probably like, oh my God, you are so backwards, but that's just how I've been raised. No man in my family will ever allow a woman to pay for them. It's almost disgusting. The idea to them is disgusting. It kind of leads me to another question which someone asked is, should I split the bill on a first date? Absolutely not. I once went on a date with a guy and he made me split the bill. I literally blocked his number at the dinner and never spoke to him again. Excuse me? Split the bill? If ever given a chance, would you start in a reality TV show? I've always said no. I have actually been approached by a few reality TV shows. I got approached by Big Brother back in 2016. I got approached to be on Rich Kids Go Skint. I got approached to be on Rich Kids Go Shopping. A bunch of really cringe rich kids things, which I could just not do. Like, I know obviously like my channel is based around me going shopping. I'm not a child. Like, I'm a grown woman. The second I reached 20, I was like, I'm no longer a child. There's no teen in my age. I'm an adult. I was not actually an adult until I was about 24, but in my head, mentally at 20s, you're an adult, but mentally not really an adult. Given the opportunity, if it was an amazing platform and I like the idea of the stories, I would not shut it down. I don't know. I've never thought about it, but reality TV isn't like reality. I hope you guys understand that. Reality TV is not fully scripted. You have to play a different version of yourself, and personally for me, I played several different versions of myself online anyway, so I think that it wouldn't be that hard for me to do so. And I think I would smash it. I would be the Christine Quinn of a reality TV show. Just give me the platform. I'll slay it for you, don't worry. Most money spent on a fashion item. Definitely not answering that. Do you think financial independence is a necessity or should it be a choice? I think it's a necessity for women. I once had a conversation with a woman who was in a really toxic relationship, and I was like, well, why don't you leave? Look, toxic relationships, it's not just easy to pack up your bags and leave. Even if you've got the money and the capability to do so and you've got everything you need to leave, it's not as easy as you think. Unless you've been in an abusive, toxic relationship, you can't just tell someone to leave a relationship. So that's not really what I was saying, but that was, you know, we were discussing relationships anyways. And she was saying, she's like, oh no, I rely on him for everything. I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, financially, like he pays for my kids, he pays my bills, he pays for my housing. And that made me realize, not to put her down or anyone else in this situation, but that made me really realize like how grateful I am as a woman to be financially independent, and how my mother's story and my mother's journey has really shaped me as a person to make sure that I am financially independent. Because God forbid I'm ever in that situation, I don't ever want to be reliant on a man. one of the scariest things is having to be dependent on someone else, especially if you're not happy in a situation. And I think generally you should be financially independent. If you ever have to get out of a situation you don't want to be in and it requires financial aid, you should be able to have that aid without having to ask anyone else. And I know that's easier said than done, but I think women should be financially independent or have like savings or have some kind of money or some kind of financial backup to fall back on, God forbid, if they really need to have it. So like, don't get me wrong, I would love to be that woman that just lives off her man. Don't get me wrong, I am that girl. I will be your trophy wife when I get married. I have no intention of like working. I will invest all my money into assets which provide me a stable income, which I don't have to work for, but I'll still have like a stable income, and I won't be fully dependent on a man. I could never be fully dependent on a man. I'm not fully dependent on my parents. I haven't been for years now. So for me to randomly go and be like, yeah, I'm fully dependent on this man, you can do whatever you want, wherever you want, I'm yours, I can't leave you, I could never. There's nothing wrong with living off your husband. Absolutely nothing wrong. He is your husband, he is a provider, he is a caretaker. Can you tell I've been watching too much Andrew Tate? Yeah, someone actually asked me, do I like Andrew Tate? I don't hate Andrew Tate. I don't agree with all that he says, and that's completely normal, that's allowed, but I do agree with a lot of things that he says. I'll be honest. There are things that he says that make sense, but they make sense to me because I've grown up in a Muslim household, in like a Middle East and South Asian household. Obviously, I've grown up in a household which doesn't have any men in it, really. Obviously, my parents are divorced, for those of you that didn't know. Some of you asked about my dad. I do not hate Andrew Tate. Biggest regret of life. I don't have regrets. There are things I would have done differently, definitely. I used to think I regretted a lot, but in hindsight, if you look back, if I look back, I wouldn't be the person I am today if I didn't have those certain experiences, because I genuinely feel like everything in life happens for a reason. I am that person. My makeup's looking really dark. Is my tan gone? Oh my God. Do you think the concept of marriage in itself is harder to maintain in this generation? 1000% yes. It's like a hard yes, definitely. I can probably count on one hand people I know that are still married and have been married for like 10 plus years. And that is shocking. It's very sad. And I have a very vast network of people. I'm not just saying like close people to me. I'm saying in general, there aren't a lot of people I know that are still happily married, and that's sad. I think also social media has a big part to play. And I say this to a lot of people. Back in the day, you could go out for dinner with your husband or your wife and you could see a beautiful person sitting in a restaurant or wherever it may be, and you can appreciate the person's beauty, but then you go home to your husband and wife, maybe you think about the person, but you move on with your life a few days later. Whereas now, you could go to dinner with your significant other, see a stunning person at a restaurant, go home or go into the toilets, go on your little phone, type in the location of that place, tap the location, and you will see that same person, and you will follow that person or start interacting with that person, suddenly have an affair, or, you know, it's shocking. It's so easy. It's so easy to cheat these days because there's so many options. It's just crazy. But I do think there are good men out there. I'm not gonna lie. I genuinely do believe that there are good men out there. They're just not in Dubai. Team Zaina or Team Ibrahim? Is anyone actually Team Ibrahim? Sorry. I could never. I really did not like his character. I don't know what he's like in general as a person. I do know other cast members, which is another question. For those of you that don't know what the hell I'm talking about, then do you live under a rock? We are talking about Dubai bling. I'm literally going for a spray tan after this. Don't come at me. I know how reality TV shows work because I have a lot of friends who are in reality TV or have been on TV. A lot of things are emphasized for the purpose of entertainment. So I don't really judge people based off a show, but I'm sorry, babe, Ibrahim, you're making me cringe. How are you going into someone's office and being like, I want to buy your company? Shut the fuck. It's just a bit cringe. Ugh, no, everything about him is just cringe to me and like very tacky. So obviously Team Zaina because I'm a girl's girl. Opinion on marrying outside your culture, and some people actually ask me, would I marry outside my culture? If you asked me this question 5 years ago, I would have said absolutely not, because I want to raise my kids in a certain way. I don't think it would be possible with clashing cultures and religions. I definitely would. I feel like I've experienced a lot more in my life in my 20s, and I know that is something a lot of 30-year-olds say, like, you don't know who you are when you start your 20s. You're a different person when you start and you leave your 20s. This is 1000% true. Like, let me tell you, you don't know who you are at 21, 22, 23, even at 26. You don't really know who you are, and you don't really know what you want until you've experienced life. You've actually opened yourself up to learning more about other people, getting to know other cultures. I would definitely marry outside my culture, religion, even. And that was a big thing for me. I would definitely. I mean, obviously it would be easier marrying someone who's kind of got the same cultural background as me, which is kind of weird because I don't really have much of a cultural background. This also comes into ethnicity as well. To Iranians, I'm too Indian. To Indians, I'm too Iranian. And to both of them, I'm too Western. And to Westerners, I'm too ethnic. So it's a bit of like, where am I? You know what? I've come to terms with it. I'm in the middle of everywhere and I don't care. I'm happy, I'm living my life, and if someone else has an issue with it, that's literally their issue, not mine. I'm comfortable the way I've been raised, the way I am. I don't think I need more cultural influence in my life. I don't think it makes a difference to anything. Do you see yourself wearing hijab one day? No. Can money actually buy happiness? Anyone that tells you no is lying. And I'm not saying, oh, I'd rather cry in a Ferrari than a shoebox. Money definitely can buy happiness, but it will not make you feel fulfilled internally. They're two different things. Money can buy you a lot. Money can buy you health to an extent. Money can get you comfort, security. Money can also buy you happiness in the form of animals, which I know can sometimes be free, but I love my pedigree dogs. I love my horses. I love my farm. I love the things that money has bought me, and it has made me happy. So I definitely think money can buy happiness to an extent. I hate that question, but I hate when people say no. Like, stop trying to be deep. Let's just face the facts, okay? Money buys happiness. Do you ever see yourself moving back to London? I don't know where I'm going to be in 10 years, 5 years, 6 years. I would never say no to moving to a different country. But then I think about all the things I'd have to change. Like, I'd have to take all my dogs. I'd probably leave the cats here. I'd have to change my lifestyle in terms of like London. It's just not safe. I'd have to like walk around with a bodyguard. And I know that sounds a bit extreme to some people. Not because I think I'm famous, but I'm just paranoid about everything. Knightsbridge, I'm paranoid. How do you feel when people question your ethnicity? I genuinely don't care. In the beginning, it would really bother me. I'm like, why do people care so much? But like, now I just don't care. Like, okay, you want to question my ethnicity? I've literally done a whole ethnicity DNA shit for you. And they're like,
oh, you're only 30% Iranian.
Okay, but bitch, I'm still 30% Iranian and 1% Jewish and 2% Swedish, and there's no winning with the internet. There's literally no winning, so I genuinely don't care. I will. One was cute. Like, he was cute back in the day. Now I look at him in disgust. That was me being stupid and thinking dating an ugly guy would make me feel better because I think they're not gonna cheat or they're not gonna, you know, no one's gonna want them. But when no one wants your man, it's kind of off-putting. Like, he's that ugly, no one wants him. And let me tell you, the ugly guys do still cheat. They cheat with ugly girls. How do I stay motivated in my professional life? Watching Andrew Tate talk about how it's mind over matter. I know that's gonna sound cringe and like, you're gonna probably think, why the f? But let me tell you, a lot of the time I blame my mental health. Well, previously I blamed my mental health for not putting out videos and not doing much work, but you really have to be a strong-minded person and a strong-willed person to want to work when you feel like shit. You have to really do the most, especially when you're feeling down and like depressed and like sad. You have to realize like work, especially when you're self-employed, you're the only person making this train run. So if you stop, the train stops, and there's a whole bunch of people on this train who are dependent on you that need you to do your shit and get your shit together to get to places. You gotta really be motivated. And you also have to think, what do you really want in life? Creating like a vision board or like having like a mood board. I'm not gonna say dreams because dreams are for dreamers and dreams are for people who are sleeping. I'm gonna say goals. You have to have goals and ambitions, and you have to have something to strive for. So if you have something you wanna work towards and something you're passionate about and something you wanna achieve, it helps you if you constantly look at it to work, basically, because like you're not gonna get those things if you don't put in the work. Do you have a friend who sucks your energy? I have had several friends that suck my energy and I cut them off. I couldn't do it. It's not that I'm selfish and I don't care about your problems, but as an Aquarius, I really struggle listening to people be negative. I think it's an Aquarius thing, but I also think it's like a general thing with me. And I am an empath. Like, I care, but not to the point where you're literally sucking the energy out of me and I have to sit there and endure your moaning and depressing talks. Like, I'm not your therapist. I'll give you the number for a therapist, but I cannot be your therapist. I'm not that person. I'm not the person people go to vent about their sad lives. Like, I will sit there like blank-faced. It's not me being mean, it's just that I have to protect my own energy. It's me being a bit selfish, and I think there's nothing wrong with being selfish. You have to protect your own energy, because I used to walk away from these conversations or hanging out with friends who were just either gossiping about other people or like breaking down about their own lives or just being negative, and I was like, God, I just need about 5 days to recover from you, and then I just didn't want to see them again. So I kind of like fizzled them out. What business advice would you give someone starting from scratch? Love you. Love you too. Business advice, I would say if you have a business idea, just go for it, full force. Initially, I'd be like, make a business plan, put together like all these documents. If you're one of those people, then do that. But if you're someone that just wants to do shit, do it. Don't wait around. I've started so many businesses which have failed, or like I've got rid of, or like not been happy with. I just kind of liquidated and like moved on to my next idea. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's no shame in trial and error, especially in business. You shouldn't be afraid to take risks. And I think that's one thing that's really built me as a person, is that I like to take risks, especially in business. Even if something fails, it's like at least I've done it and I've tried it and I've learned from it. I take every kind of failure as a lesson. I don't see it as like a failure. I think of it as like a lesson, and that's something I feel a lot of people should do. Don't think of failure as you've failed and you've lost time, unless it's in a relationship. No, I'm kidding. Even relationships, they're learning curves, they're lessons. Start it. Put together some money. Borrow money from a friend, but pay them back. That's how I started. My mother invested in my first business when I was 16, eventually paid her off, and then we liquidated that business because it kind of like flopped. We didn't really focus on it. We were busy like studying, and then I took that money and invested in my next business, and then so on and so forth, and here we are today with Petite. And to conclude, I'm not with the person I was with in my last anniversary video. I know a lot of you guys wanted to know that. We are not together. I broke up with him for various different reasons. I'm much happier. I thought that was a perfect relationship, and really, I hope you guys enjoy this video. If you want to do more sit down chit chat videos, then let me know. I think this is more like a podcast because it looks like it's about 50 minutes long, but I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I will see you guys in my next video.